welcome back to the Spa Queen Unleashed podcast. I want to thank Fiesta Media Studios for the production and Spa Royale Day Spa for sponsoring this Wellness Wednesday. And today I have a really, really special guest. I have Dr. D. Dr. DANITA is here live from Virginia. And today we are going to talk about living with intention. We're going to talk about how we can get ourselves out of the rut, out of the funk, out of our own mind, because I think a lot of us are struggling with that right now. So without further ado, here she is, Dr. DANITA. Welcome to the show. I'm so grateful to have you here with me today. So good to see you.
Yes, thank you for the invite. Miss Spa Queen, I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So like I said, we've all been feeling it. We've all been going through it. We are living through some crazy times right now. And I just feel like what we can offer to the audience today and to those that are watching, is just a little bit of how to, because I know that, people can see what we do. People can see our daily lives. People see wins, right? But with wins are also losses. We all suffer from different things. I mean, it could be, depression. It could be just low self-esteem. It can be just being surrounded with negativity, that constant social media, that constant news. We all know that the news is not good for us, right? But people are glued to that right now, and it's affecting everyone. So, what are some things that you think are really helpful and can be really beneficial to people that can help them, know where they are, right? First of all, being aware of what's going on and being able to honor that space, but then getting yourself out of it. That's the thing. It's getting out of that kind of vicious cycle, I feel.
Right. So I know you won't have me on here unless I have permission to be completely candid, right?
Oh, listen, that's how we roll on the show. We are unleashed. We are authentic. We are truth. That's it.
Absolutely. So I'm in a funk right now, Spa Queen. I'm in a funk, Mary, and you hate being in that funk. You really do. You're like, man, because you have the tools. You know what you need to do, and you're like, but why me? And so my first thing is always acceptance. That's my biggest value. And it's my biggest tool. And acceptance is, where are you at right now, D? That's what I have to say. Where are you at? Well, I'm in a funk right now. So I'm acknowledging it here on this show, but I've been acknowledging it to myself.
Yes.
And on the backdrop, you even say, you're just like, man, I feel it. Because sometimes you have to pull back. That's number two. You have to pull back from things, people, places, and things. And it doesn't have to be good or bad, but you just have to pull back and get in tune with yourself.
Because you need that energy. You need that energy for yourself.
Right. Absolutely. So like the past week, maybe a couple of weeks, but really the past week, it's been heavy. And one of the reasons why I feel like it's been heavy is because I'm working on this book, and then I have some moving and just business life, right?
Yes.
But acknowledging what those things are, like, it's a lot to unpack to write another book. It's a lot to get ready to move. It's a lot to watch what's on TV. It's a lot to help family and friends. So pulling back is the second thing that I would recommend. And your call today is about intention. You have to be intentional if you're going to practice self-acceptance, right? Yes. You have to be intentional if you're going to pull back, right? Tell me if I'm giving you too much, Mary.
No, I love this. This is it. And this is what it's all about. Here we are listening to Dr. D, okay? She's a clinical psychologist, y'all. None of us are exempt from going through this. So this is a perfect example of what it is, real. It's real. That's what it is, so no, bring it. We're ready.
Okay. Then also, like, just, when I say acceptance and then I say pull back, but then acknowledging if there's some mental health stuff going on, right? Dr. D is open about mental health stuff. So I struggle with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, and generalized anxiety. And so, like, it's also a seasonal affective time right now. So some people experience seasonal affective disorder in the summer and some experience in the fall months. Yeah. Mine come in the fall months. So I'm like, oh my God, here we go, right? This double depression. But being aware of that, then I have to make sure I stick to my routine. That's number 3.
Yes. Y'all are hearing it. See, it's not just me. I'm telling you, I tell them all the time, a routine. It's so important. And I had a great question yesterday, Dr. D, from my last podcast. He asked me, how do you know when it's, you always talk about your morning routine, but when you're in a rut and you're just going through the motions and you're just doing it. And I said, first of all, being aware that that's what you're doing. Intention is what separates that, right? From just going through the motions and the monotony and just doing what you're supposed to be doing. You have to get intentional.
Yes. Being intentional, keeping that routine. And that routine, here's the thing. So we're not talking, Mary, you know this. I always say it's progress over perfection. So routine doesn't mean at 5 o'clock every single day I get up at perfection, like I'm never late. No, it means like, are you doing the things that you need to do habitually and know why you're doing it? So, me and Mary like to walk. I walk because I like starting my day. I do starting my day with me. I do visualization in the morning. I pray, right? I visualize myself getting through my day so I can see myself going through challenges and making it through my day. That's with intention. Now, does that happen at 5 o'clock every morning? No. Some mornings I'm like, hey, I need an extra hour of sleep, right?
And that's okay.
That's okay. But the last thing I think that's been so paramount is to look at the 4 areas that I talk about. Those are 4 core areas in your life. Like, what's your purpose? Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
Why am I doing this routine? Why am I getting up at 5 o'clock visualizing myself through the day? Well, I'm doing that because if I don't already see myself getting through it, then as soon as I come up with a challenge, I'm like, man, I can't do this. But I visualize that with intention. So why I do what I do. Number 2, what's my condition? What's my emotional, my physical, and my spiritual condition? Well, right now with mental health stuff going on, my emotion is kind of like rocky, right? So that's why I'm pulling away to make sure I take care of that condition, that part of my condition. The third thing is my creation, I call it. Like, what are my relationships? Who am I surrounding myself? Am I surrounding myself like wonderful people like Mary?
That's a big one.
Right? Right?
So big.
Am I surrounding myself with people like this to check in before her podcast this morning? I think 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. She like, girl, you good? Right? That's what you want on your team.
Listen, I love some Dr. D. I love me some Dr. D. And I can talk to her at 4 a.m. because her mind's like that, yeah.
I know, girl. I appreciate it. But that's the thing. Who are you surrounding yourself? Are you surrounding yourself with people that will check in on you even when you don't ask to be checked in on? Or do you surround yourself with people they add more on your plate when they can already sense that you're not in a good place? And then lastly, how's your money and how's your quality of life?
There you go. That's the whole life. That encompasses everything. And if you go to check on one of these areas that she's mentioned, clearly there is going to be one that's not doing so well when you're feeling less than, right? So you take inventory and you think about, okay, this is where I'm not feeling so good. So you have to move into that direction and try to do something that is going to make you feel better. And there's so many things, I had a text from a friend yesterday. She was like, I don't know. I'm just going through it. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, well, okay, there was a full moon this week. It was a full moon in Aquarius. What is it bringing it to? It's bringing a lot of chaotic energy to us right now. It really is. And there's a shift in energy and in the universe. So we're not all crazy. You know what I mean? Like it is real things, but what we have control over is how we choose to show up during these times. That's what we have so much control over. And that's what I love sharing with people, is that it's not that I'm immune. It's not that you're immune to feeling down and just having a hard time. I mean, I told you I felt like I'd been thrown to the wolves the other day, and I've been thrown through the wolves, but I am going to get through it. I will get through it. I will figure out a way. So I am going to create a path, right? And create my little map on how I'm going to get to that other side, because I'm going to get to that other side because I don't like this side. So it's just a matter of being mindful enough that you can be aware and you can observe and witness what it is that is lacking, what you're needing. And a lot of times we forget about ourselves. And as givers, right? You teach, you coach, you're always inspiring. You're an amazing human, right? And because of that, we give, and then sometimes we forget to give back to ourselves. That's why starting with a morning routine and doing you first is so important, because it helps you navigate the rest of your day. It really truly sets you up for success, right? But it's just, being mindful and checking all those things. Right now, there's so much negativity coming from every direction. I mean, north, south, west, east, wherever, it's there, so it's up to us.
You know what, when I did my check in my quadrants, right? And found out what, I'm like, what's my purpose? Okay. I've been focused on my purpose, but like you said, we give so much as givers. And what I realized that I hadn't listened to a good podcast, like Mary's podcast in a while. I hadn't read a book. I hadn't been.
And you love reading.
I love it.
That's how you feed your brain.
Yes. And I was like, because I said, what is going on? And so I've been very busy. Like I said, I've been writing, so I'm pouring out. So I heard one of my business coaches, he said that for, 3 or 4 years, every day he reads a proverb. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So in the morning, when I'm making my coffee at 5 o'clock in the morning, I will go to YouTube. And so I hope y'all writing this down. You listening?
Yes.
Sometimes we think we need like a whole bunch of time. We just need a little nugget.
That's
so
it.
I'll put on a proverb on a YouTube and have it speaking in the background to me. Or the day I did it in my car and I listened to it, I let it repeat 2 or 3 times. And so I filled up my mind, because this thing right here is really what we got to get under control. Everything else is fine if we can get this under control.
That's it. And it's the hardest thing to get under control. But it's doable. It just takes work and consistent work every single day. That's it. And when you have that consistency and you still get those things that you need to get done, that's a win. That's a win.
Yes.
We forget, Anthony was on the podcast last Friday and he talked about his Forever 5. So everybody has, their little cheat code to life, right? And he reminded me, and I had to remind myself this weekend, because I started to get down on myself because I only exercised 5 out of the 7 days, Dr. D. 5, right. Not 7.
Only. Language is important, right?
Right? Yes. And I thought about it. I was like, girl, 5 out of 7? I'm sorry. You're wrong. Like, shut that inner bitch voice off. Right. And let's talk boss voice. That's pretty awesome. 5 out of 7, you did all right.
So here's a strategy on that. Once you become aware of that, like, remember, I always say progress over perfection. Progress instead of perfection, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. What you really wanted to tell yourself was, hey, I haven't exercised in 2 days. I want to exercise.
Yes.
Thinking about was like, girl, look at you. You messed up again. No, the voice inside is said, girl, you missed out on working out because you want to work out, not because you did something wrong.
Oh, no. I mean, I still rocked over my 12,000 steps. I told my audience about my challenge that we had in your group, which was doing 1,000,000 steps in 100 days. And it was awesome. And it was such a great thing to do and a thing to participate in. And I've carried that on. I'm still doing it because I developed this amazing habit, doing that. But like you said, I mean, it's this bitch voice that wants to tear you down and make you feel like you're nothing, when in reality, anybody would think that 5 out of 7 is pretty freaking good, right? So it's just squashing that negative voice in your head that wants to tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not doing something right, that you're failed somehow, or you this or you that. Instead, we have to remind ourselves that we need to talk to ourselves with love. I would never speak to another human that way, Dr. D, ever.
Right. And that right there, you said you never speak to someone else like that, because we're so compassionate oftentimes to other people, but we lack self-compassion.
Correct.
I talk to a client today for an hour, and we were going over, they were like, Dr. D, I'm struggling with this self-compassion. I'm like, well, sit back. How would you treat a friend? Boom, 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 boom. Gave me the plan of action. Boom. That's what you need to do for you.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. And like I said, scheduling yourself in your busy day, in your life, you first.
Yes.
You first, you know. How about dancing? Have you been dancing?
I have not been dancing. I didn't go this weekend. I went the weekend before last to a bachata congress.
Yes. I know you love that, and it makes you feel so good and so alive, you know?
Why don't we do more things that make us feel alive? Like, we're not just supposed to be just working. Like, this thing's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. We've got it backwards. That's what we're here for. We're trying to help these people. We're trying to help ourselves. We're trying to make, you know what? People always say, oh, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. No, I'm trying to make a lemon meringue pie, and I'm trying to share that with everyone.
Right.
I didn't want lemonade. I want pie.
People complicate things. I've been dancing I'm an amateur, but professionally trained, right, for about 5 years. But I remember when I started that thing, I was fussing with myself because my feet wouldn't agree. You know, when I started really having fun with dancing, when I told myself, D, just dance.
Yes.
Dance. Your call today is about being living with intention. Just dance, y'all. Whatever your thing is, you might not do the bachata, right? You might not be a bachata, but whatever your thing is, just do it. Like, stop making it so complicated. That's where a lot of the emotional distress comes from, because we're trying to, you know, did I check this box just right? Did I step on this? Did I step on the left foot or the right foot instead of just dancing?
Yeah, we're looking for that perfection, which doesn't exist, right? Like, it's man, just have fun, you know, paint, draw, get your hands into the earth, plant something, pet your animals. You know, I talk about my animals all the time. My animals are my everything, right? They're a lot of work, but boy, I love those little things. They make me happy, you know? And so, yeah, just finding the things that you really enjoy and that you love. Do some of that. And I think that you will see my little baby. That's Wheezy baby. John Wayne and Maybelline. But you know, it's when you do give yourself permission, because I think that's part of the problem too, is that we don't give ourselves permission. We kind of hold ourselves to this like crazy standard of, no, you can't do that. And no, you need to work. And you know, there's no fun. No, you've got to have fun. You have to make time for fun and your family and your friends and whatever sets your soul on fire, whatever makes you happy. Do more of that. You know, I was thinking about fall. I'm like, I get so excited. You know, fall is upon us. And, you know, I'm a leaf peeper. I love watching the leaves change, right? We don't have that in Florida. So we go to Vermont so I can experience the most magical fall, right? Aww. Yes. And I love that. And just thinking about that, thinking about pumpkins, thinking about, you know, I'm ready to decorate. It's not even September, but it makes me happy, you know? So it's like things like that we can do that really can shift our perception to a better space, right? A better place.
All about mindset. You know, I'm a mindset coach.
Yes.
What is your mental dial turn to, right? And sometimes we got to course correct that dial. Remember, I'm telling my age now, but remember the radios back.
Hey, I remember.
You're doing like this and you're trying to get the little static out. That's all you're doing with your mindset. When you start talking, you're like, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong frequency. That's what I'm typing right now in the book. I'm talking about dialing into that correct frequency. Like if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you got what we call negative emotion, there's really no such thing as negative emotion, but you start feeling something and you don't want to feel, what your body and your mind is trying to connect you to do is to pay attention to something, and you got to dial that thing in.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. So Dr. D, tell us about your books. She's got some books that she has out. She is the boundary queen. We'll have to have her back on another time and go over some boundaries, because this is your girl. I mean, that's her thing, you know, and boundaries are so important. We talked about that. Boundaries are for everyone, and boundaries are super healthy. So tell us about your books and tell us about the one that you're currently writing.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to be book number 5, and I'll just focus on that one. The first one was my memoir, so you can definitely go check that one out. But this one is called The 4 Critical Habits to Overcome Burnout. Okay, so don't you know, Dr. D, right now, not feeling burnt out, but I'm like this close, right? And so I'm typing and I'm like, D, make sure you apply these principles. But it's called the 4 Critical Habits to Overcome Burnout, the Setting and Keeping Boundaries Playbook. Nice. All right, for your best quality of life right now. And what this book is I'm writing it specifically to entrepreneurs. Me and you are entrepreneurs,
yes.
right? We love that creative space that we get to generate income, but also generate the lifestyle that we want. But it sometimes can come with a cost, lack of boundaries, right? So I outline in there 4 critical habits for entrepreneurs, and it can apply to anyone, but I'm specifically talking to the entrepreneur, so that we won't just make money. Okay, we can enjoy that quality of life that we deserve.
Yes, I love that. I definitely need that. I definitely need that. Because, when you love what you do,
right,
you can just work because you love it so much, right? But you have to separate yourself. You have to give yourself time. You have to have boundaries in place. You really, really do. And that's so awesome. That's so important. What is the name of your boundary book?
That is it. That's the 4 critical habits to overcome burnout. And the second the subtitle is the Setting and Keeping Boundaries.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So, and see, this is the thing. So sometimes people have heard boundaries so much. So that's why I didn't put like boundaries right there in the bigger title, because I need to get your attention. Everybody burn out, right?
Yep.
So I need to get your attention. Okay, if I'm burnt out, boom, now you get in the book. Oh, that's what I need, boundaries? Yes, that's what I've been trying to say.
And I love that because, listening to you right now, it's about being able to self-coach. That's the ultimate goal, right? Being able to self-coach, because we can't have Dr. D next to us 24/7 to correct us, to get us back into our lane, right? We got to stay in our lane.
Yes. Oh.
And when you're swerving, you're either you can self-correct or you can go off that cliff, and then that's not good for anybody, right?
Yes. And what I love so much about this book is because I'm a writer, researcher, scholar by nature, I've learned over time each book, I call it dumbing it down, right? And like, dumb it down for me, right? Not calling my readers dummies, but we like
it simple. We like simple, right? And effective.
But it was complicated in the first book, right? Because she just got out of college, so she was making it so complicated. And the more I've talked to my clients, I've dumbed it down for them and dumbed it down for myself too. So I put the dumbed down version in there so we can go ahead and get your quality of life upgraded right away.
I love that. Right away. That's what's up. That is what is up. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. So yeah. So I think that, man, this is great. These are definitely some real things that we can do and apply right now. Like if you're not feeling so great right now, do some of the things that she just explained to us. Try it. I promise you, it makes a difference. It really, really does.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on, Mary.
Oh my gosh. Yes. No, it's so good to see your face. I'm so thankful that you were here and that you were able to share with us some of the things that we can apply and using ourselves as examples, because we're humans as well. You know what I mean? Just because we have a title before our name means absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, we are all humans. We all want the same things, and being able to share value and tips and things that we can do to make our lives a little better is what it's all about. So I am so grateful to have you and to see your beautiful face this morning. And thank you so much, everyone. Yes, virtual hug. Kisses. I'll have to come by when we're on our drive to Vermont to stop in Virginia and say hey.
Yes. Okay, I need to know when that is. I want to hug you. I keep saying I'm coming to Florida, but Dee trying to publish and stuff, but we got to get together.
We do. So for now, we'll do it virtually, right? But anyway, Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for being here today, watching this episode on how we can live our lives more intentionally. Stay tuned for my next episode next week for another Wellness Wednesday. And remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, all the platforms. So thank you so much for being with us here today. I appreciate every single one of you.